Dear Yorgos Lanthimos, you need therapy. Hello everyone, my name is Bridget. Welcome to my channel. Last week, I went to go see Yorgos Lanthimos' newest feature film, Poor Things, in theaters, and it was really, really weird. Bizarre, even. You could go as far as to say it was bananas, which is not really out of the ordinary for Yorgos, but this film somehow exceeded my expectations for weirdness. And that's coming from a David Lynch fan. Potential spoilers for Poor Things ahead. The film is based off of a novel of the same name by Alasdair Gray, and it was adapted for the screen by Tom McNamara, whom Yorgos Lanthimos had previously collaborated with on The Favourite. The plot follows a young woman, Bella Baxter, who has just been brought to life by a genius yet very peculiar doctor named Godwin Baxter, or God for short, as he is often called throughout the film. Bella is a woman who in her past life committed while she was pregnant with her unborn baby. Godwin finds the body and decides to resurrect Bella by putting the brain of her infant into her and seeing what happens. The film follows Bella as she rediscovers the world and herself for the first time. In short, it's kind of a retelling of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but that's oversimplifying it. The film tries to pack in a lot of ideas into its 2-hour and 20-minute runtime, including identity, morality, and female sexuality. A lot of sexuality. And it features Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, and Mark Ruffalo in leading roles. First and foremost, I have to talk about how breathtakingly beautiful the visuals are in this movie. The film bounces back and forth from a rich, grainy, black and white landscape, almost reminiscent of David Lynch films like Eraserhead or Elephant Man, to a bright, vibrant, colorful landscape that almost reminds you of a Wes Anderson film. The black and white is often used inside God's mansion, perhaps representing the things Bella is missing out on by being trapped in his mansion. And the use of wide-angle lenses almost makes it feel like you're looking into a dollhouse through a peephole, like you're seeing things you shouldn't be seeing. The production design is also essential to creating the film's ambiance. The sets and the costumes are just so elegantly detailed. It definitely evokes feelings of like Victorian steampunk, where it takes place in the past but also in the future. I also normally don't like CGI in movies, but Poor Things uses CGI really, really well to create this type of uncanny valley atmosphere that feels almost real, but not quite. The film's dialogue also kind of adds to this uncanny valley type of feel, because for most of the film, characters speak in Victorian-style English, but on occasion they will slip into more modern manners of speaking, such as using curse words casually. And it kind of gives the film a time and setting that the audience can't quite place. It gives Yorgos this freedom to create his own little world for these characters to live in and not have to be confined by the details of a specific time or place. Not only is the film beautiful to look at, but it's impossible to talk about Poor Things without mentioning the astonishing acting performances, particularly by Emma Stone with her no-holds-barred portrayal of Bella Baxter. With Bella being such a unique and quirky character, it would be really easy for her portrayal to come across as cartoonish. But Emma Stone manages to fully commit to the eccentricity of the character while also keeping her grounded in reality. I definitely hope she wins that Oscar. Emma Stone is not the only knockout performance in this film. Willem Dafoe, unsurprisingly, delivers a perfect, sympathetic portrayal of the quirky mad scientist Godwin, who very much parallels Dr. Victor Frankenstein from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Mark Ruffalo kind of acts as the comedic relief of this film, and he gives a great standout performance as well as the over-the-top smug lawyer, and the chemistry between him and Emma Stone just makes for such a fun dynamic. I also have to take a second to acknowledge how incredible Jerskin Fendrix's piercing and haunting Academy Award nominated score is. It really keeps the viewer on edge and adds to the general bizarreness of the movie. Now that I've gushed about all of the great things about the film, the music, the acting, the cinematography, the production design, I want to get into where this movie begins to falter a little bit. Poor Things is 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and it feels that way sometimes. The film attempts to pack in a lot of ideas and a lot of plot points into its runtime, and that can cause the film to feel a little bit messy and disorganized at times. It almost feels like it needed to be a 2-part film or a television series. Not that Hollywood needs any more sequels. It's just too much for one film.
Too many notes.
The topic of female sexual liberation is a major topic throughout the film, which is a little bit strange for a film that was directed by a man, written by a man, and based on a novel by a man. The film acts like Bella has found freedom and liberation through sex and being a sex worker, but you can't help but feel like she's just being taken advantage of. You have to keep in mind that at the beginning of the film, Bella has the mind of an infant, and the timeline of the film is not exactly clear to the viewer, so it can make these sex scenes really uncomfortable to watch, and it almost feels outright wrong to look at. According to an interview with Yorgos Lanthimos, he claimed that Bella's probably in her late teens when the sex starts, but to the viewer that's not made explicitly clear at all. Not only is the sex uncomfortable to watch, there is so much of it. And the sex scenes are so awkward and clunky and unsexy, which I guess is realistic. Awkward and uncomfortable sex does kind of seem to be a theme in Yorgos's films, but something about this one just feels wrong. I am honestly surprised with the amount of nudity in this film that it's not rated NC-17. Did I mention there's a lot of sex in this movie? Now, I'm not like a prude or anything, but it definitely feels gratuitous. And I think Yorgos could have cut quite a bit out of the runtime by just removing some of those scenes. It's really hard for me to figure out exactly how I feel about this film. There are a lot of amazing things about this movie. Visually, it is incredible. The acting is incredible. While Bella does eventually get smarter throughout the film and begin to make her own decisions, you can't help but feel like it's some weird male fantasy of wanting a woman with Emma Stone's body and the brain of an infant, wanting a woman who can't make her own decisions, who doesn't know what she's consenting to. Ultimately, Poor Things is a well-made film. It's bizarre and it's polarizing. If you scroll through IMDb, all you'll see are 10-star or 1-star reviews. There's not much in between. Yorgos Lanthimos is a director who's made a name for himself for his unique style and ideas, and Poor Things does not fall short of that expectation in any way. Despite its flaws and its weirdness, Poor Things is one of the most original films that has come out since the pandemic, and is absolutely deserving of its 11 Academy Award nominations. If you consider yourself to be a lover of cinema, Poor Things is a must-watch regardless of whether you end up loving it or hating it. In the end, I'm gonna give Poor Things a 7 out of 10. It has a lot of amazing aspects, but some of the weirdness is just too weird for me, and I love David Lynch. Comment below what you thought of Poor Things and what films you're hoping do well at the Academy Awards. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you next time.